Sharma sir, Associate Professor from Roni Solar. Sir, you are cordially invited to share your rich knowledge and practical insights. Sir, you are most welcome to present.
So, bearing behavior of apple and its relevance with training and pruning of apple. So first, if we come to the apple, as it was in my previous slide, apple orcharding or apple production system is a big puzzle, where there are number of factors which contribute for the overall production, productivity and the quality of the produce in the orchard. There could be so many things, in which first is the site where we are growing those apples or establishing the plantations. Besides that, combination of variety, that is science and stock, and then various management practices, either it is nutrition management, it is irrigation management, our orchard floor management, or other management practices. So means all those aspects should be at its appropriate place, then only we can achieve. We cannot think about only one aspect of that, as we are talking here with respect to training and pruning, but that may not be sufficient enough to control the whole production system. Now coming to the bearing habit of apple, first of all, as you all might be knowing, apple basically bear on spurs which are short shoots, we can say, and principal bearing site in case of apples and so many other temperate fruits also. So terminal bearing is over there, as clear from the pictures also. They, in the first picture, it is being shown like that. It is later but not later. On the spurs, it is on the terminal. But sometimes, or in some varieties, on 1-year-old shoot also. And this is directly relevant to our pruning practices and training also. Pruning means if you are heading back, you are moving that terminal portion, definitely we are going to reduce our bearing area where the food has been taken. After that, second thing which is important enough over there, the bud, which is being considered as the floral part, that is mixed in nature. First from the same bud, leaves will be coming out as clear in the picture. After that, from the same bud, after leaves, we will be getting flowers from there. They will be on an average 5 in number, sometimes maybe variable in between 4 and 7, on an average 5. And definitely we have to think about that, whether the variety is typical spur bearer or it is on 1-year-old. So most of the varieties which we say one-lazing varieties, Gala, Fusy group and Granny Smith, all those in majority of cases be around 1-year-old shoot. Spur formation competitive test. However, in delicious, the spur formation is abundant. That may again be variable depending upon the vigor of the tree, whether it is standard or it is spur type. Now come to the next one, before training pruning, which is directly related to the canopy management. While managing canopy, there should be two aspects. One is direct, some of them are indirect. So among the directs, here it is tree training and pruning, and in direct, definitely side stock combinations, means variety, root stock, and sometimes even interstock is also used. And besides that, whenever we talk about the training, there are so many other devices used, either for bending of the branches or something like that. So that mechanical device is used, and sometimes to control the growth, use of plant growth temperature, that is also a part of that. Now coming to the actual topic, that is training and pruning. First, what is training and pruning? If we start to define it, so training is an efficient and desirable way to develop a specific structure or framework of the tree in formation of the specific shape of the tree. But in addition to that, definitely as we see, especially in case of high density plantations, any kind of support system being provided over there, that is also part of that. And in the majority of the cases, to enhance the light interception and control the growth and increase the formation of spurs, bending and widening the crotch angles, that is also one of the important aspects, and that is all part and parcel of the training. However, in case of pruning, it is just cutting or removal of the part of branch or whole branch. Only cutting will be there, nothing else will be over there. So their objective will be either to maintain or correct the structure we have got during training, or just to maintain the balance between vegetative growth and reproductive growth, because there is inverse relationship between vegetative growth and reproductive growth. If our growth will be excessive, definitely less formation of spurs or bearing buds will be there, and if there will be excessive bearing, definitely the growth of the plant that will be reducing over there. Now, in majority of the cases, whenever we talk about apple, any orchardist first of all would like to ask, to what shape should I train my apple tree? And the answer could not be single one. There are number of training systems. So which particular training system has to be adapted? That will depend on number of factors, in which growing conditions are again the site, then which kind of sign, which kind of stock or their combination is over there. Besides that, bearing habit, as I discussed earlier, also in case of dentures, there could be standard varieties, which are vigorous ones, there could be spur varieties, and there could be pollinating varieties or Ghana or fusy group. So accordingly, it will be variable. That way, in various timings, various scientists around the globe have got a number of training systems. Though all of them have never tried in India, everywhere, either it is your institution over here, our institution or any other institution in India, some of the training system has been evaluated, and according to their observation and findings, some of the system has been implemented in various places. So first of all, conventionally low density plantations, when most of the plantations were on seedling rootstocks. So the training system which was adapted for apples was center leader system, where center leader means main trunk as a leader that was allowed to grow throughout its life cycle, and the branch, such kind of tree in front of us, where from ground level up to about 1 meter or 90 centimeters, no branches are selected. Then first one of the 4 or 5 branches are selected. After that, about 1 meter area is again left without branching. Then second story is dropped. Likewise, continuously it is done over here. The drawback with the system is that after 4 or 5 stories or tiers of the branches, they start shading the lower portion. There is change towards high density plantation. People are planting at closer spacing. Then different shapes or different kind of training systems are adapted over there in various countries depending upon the situation. So first type of shapes, those are called then the spherical shaped canopy systems, in which more or less it is little bit modification of center leader system, modified center leader system, and tree could be like this. The drawback again with this is that the outermost that contains only 1/3 of the total canopy. Therefrom we will be getting very good crop or consumable, so poor quality fruits. And in these systems, whatsoever were there, in 30s spindle bush system, all different kind of bush systems were adapted. I will not be talking about all of them. So little bit about spindle bush to some extent which was adapted over there in late 50s for high density plantations. It was nothing just to, in the first year, just to widen its approach angle and increasing the bearing area and decreasing the growth. Those branches were tied down to widening their approach angles. And after that, on the main trunk, week later, so that the growth can be controlled. As I said earlier, if growth will be controlled, definitely the fruiting will be increasing over there.
ये समझ आया? फिर काट क्यों देते हैं ऊपर? उसको छोड़ते हैं वीक ब्रांच में। जो बहाव है वो कम ऊपर की तरह जाए और नीचे ब्रांच।
We are retaining the leader. Later, buds will not sprout. We will not be getting branches. And if we cut the leader, what will happen? We might be getting branches, but definitely it will delay your fruiting. So our aim in high density plantation knowledge to have early bearing that could be achieved by non-removal of the leader. Means least of heading that, most of thinning off. If branch is not at the appropriate place, we can remove that. But whatsoever branch is there at initial stage until or unless it start bearing, we should not remove it. So then we left with the option that if we would like to have branches at desired places, without removing the leader, we can notch. Just make a cut deep up to the wood, removing some portion of that, as it is clear in the picture also. What will happen that way? It is going to alter our CN ratio. Your vascular system, that will be interrupted over there. So up to that much nutrition and water supply will be sufficient. But photosynthesis will be checked over there. And that enhances the chances of sprouting of that part. But sometimes if it is not possible, or buds will not be sprout sufficient, or it is at nursery level, this can be adapted even in orchards. And second method also. So the appropriate time is the 4 to 5 weeks prior to expected bud sprouting time. If you will do it as early than that, that wound may heat quickly and we will not be achieving the real benefit as we have targeted from there. And if it will be very less, provided at a later stage, only 1 or 2 weeks prior to the sprouting, even then we will not be achieving it. Second, wherever it is not possible, we can go for use of plant growth regulators for lateral branch development. There we cannot target which bud we would like to have sprouting, but we would have a number of branches over there and we can select which one we would like to retain. That way either it is benzyl adenine which is used for lateral shoot development without removing the leader, or otherwise a combination of gibberellic acid and benzyl adenine. Then it is depending upon the number of applications and its concentration. So very high concentration is not desirable, but the optimum concentration and more number of sprays, those are much more important. As here you see 400 and 800 has been tried. So the target could be achieved better with 400 ppm and having 8 sprays rather than 8 sprays of 800 or 4 sprays of 800 ppm. So 400 to 500 ppm BA can be. Otherwise this has been replaced. You might have heard about Promaline, Perlan.
Yes, sir.
These are the chemicals which are frequently used in apple industry nowadays, either in India or other countries also. So that Promaline or combination of 0.4 plus 7 plus BA.
I have a question.
At 1,000. Yes.
So Promaline, is that still used in India? So Promaline.
Yes,
Promaline, like the
Yes.
GA combination plus BA combination, that's program.
Yeah. Promaline I said, na? Promaline and Perlan also. GA4 plus 7.
So she's saying we are still using Promal.
Still, are you asking or are you telling?
No, I'm asking, is it still
You are still using or are we using?
Yeah, I'm
In
still
India,
using because it was
she's
banned
saying
in
in
India.
India. अभी भी यूज कर रहे हैं इसको सर.
अभी ही कर रहे हैं. अभी कर रहे, मेरा कहने का मतलब है जब हाइड्रोक्सी प्लांटेशंस का चलन चला है, इसकी 2 वजह है करने की. ये तो मैं ट्रेनिंग सिस्टम में कह रहा हूँ. Otherwise, it is much better known for LD ratio improvement. You are climatically at a place which can be said a very good location for cultivation of apples. But we are growing apples right from what should I say, 1100 or 1200 meters above being sea level, onwards up to 8,000 or 9,000 feet from mean sea level, 3,000 meters roughly. So at higher elevations, you might have observed yourself. If it is delicious apple, it will be showing clear your lobes,
Yes. Because sir,
and at the same time elongated apple also. Rather than conical, that could be oblong. Length is much greater than the width. Otherwise, if it is conical, the width at the shoulders that is greater and overall length of the fruit that is lesser. But as far as the response of the apple from the market is concerned, if it is much longer than its width, that fetches more prices. That looks more attractive. So Promaline is mostly used for that purpose. Because gibberellic acid is there, that also helps in addition. Single, otherwise what we do now, whenever we formulate our trial, something like that, or it is the purpose is thesis, we can now target single parameter, just to improve LD ratio. Whenever we are applying something, we will be getting number of responses out of that. तो वहाँ तो बड़े सारे आपको टेबल में आप बना रहे हो कि लेंथ बढ़ गई, विड्थ भी बढ़ गई, TSS भी बढ़ गया, कलर भी चेंज हो गया, all those things over there. But single parameter ये है, उसके साथ साथ fruit set, because of the presence of gibberellic acid. Fruit set will be also improved. But another issue which will be over there, the people who are using it, they might be facing a huge drop also after setting. Because this act as a stimulus simply, if not proper pollinated flowers are over there. So that will be dropping later. So such kind of things will be there. Second is that.
Sir, I have one question. Sir, अगर हमें nursery में लगाना पड़ेगा, तो जैसे इसकी branching मैचिंग करानी है, so sometimes we pinch the plant, nursery condition, branching बनाने के लिए, या अगर हम chemical put on करेंगे, तो कितना area हमें cover करना चाहिए उसको top portion में?
Actually, what happens over here? There is a trend, especially the material we are importing. Feather plants is the target of each and every one, just to have early fruiting. If feather plant has to be produced over there, so if we would like to have feather plant within 1 year, pinching may not be much helpful for us.
Yes.
Whenever during active growth season, we remove the terminal portion, that may lead to development of later branches to some extent. But definitely the regrowth from the leader, that will be restricted. आपका plant height wise नहीं बढ़ पाएगा जब भी आप pinch करोगे, terminal portion remove करोगे. अच्छा, दूसरा ये कि जहाँ से हम remove करते हैं terminal portion, आपने pinch किया या उसको head back कर दिया, उसके बाद उसकी limitation है कि उससे नीचे की कितनी buds sprout करेगी. Limited number of buds will sprout. Rest of the area that will again remain unsprouted. तो वो चीजें रहती है. तो उसमें ये फर्स्ट ईयर में अगर आपको करना है तो इट विल बी मोर और लेस मैंडेटरी टू यूज आइदर टोर्मलिन कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ GA4+7+BA और योर बेंजाइलेडिन. वो सॉफ्ट वुड होती है उस टाइम या सेमी हार्ड वुड होती है. आप नोचिंग भी काम नहीं करती है बिकॉज लीव्स आर प्रेजेंट होती है. नोचिंग कैन बी डन ऑन द डॉर्मेंट वुड. तो तब तो आपको वही करना पड़ेगा. इन मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस feather plants are produced on 2-year-old प्लांट. सेकंड ईयर में फेदर ड्रॉप किया तो 1 साल आपका प्लांट बढ़ गया 1 मीटर 1.5 मीटर से जो भी हाइट की. देन दैट यू सेट पिंचिंग, इट विल नॉट बी पिंचिंग, देन रिमूवल ऑफ द टर्मिनल पोर्शन, हेडिंग बैक हम कह सकते हैं. सो व्हेनेवर वी विल हेड बैक, डेफिनेटली वी बी अचीविंग द टारगेट. बट विद दैट वन थिंग व्हिच माइट नॉट बी एप्रोप्रिएट ओवर देयर, जब भी हम हेड बैक करेंगे ब्रांचेस उससे नीचे की तरफ, टॉप मोस्ट आपका जो बड आपने छोड़ा है रिटेन उस पे, दैट विल ग्रो अपराइट, रेस्ट अकॉर्डिंग टू देयर depth from the top, their angle will be widened. जितना दूर होगा लीडर से उतना एंगल वाइड होता रहेगा. ऊपर वाला का एंगल जो है अपराइट रहेगा. वो एंगल नहीं हमें मिल पाता है. और नर्सरी जैसी स्पेस में जहाँ नजदीक है, जो मैं चीजें आपको बता रहा हूँ, ये ऑर्चर्ड में है. ऑर्चर्ड में आपका सफिशिएंट स्पेस आपने पहले से रखी है, 1-1 मीटर की दूरी पर लगाएंगे तब इवन, लेकिन आप 1-1 मीटर की डिस्टेंस पे नर्सरी में नहीं लगा पाते. फिर आपको ये ट्रेनिंग करना मुश्किल हो जाता है. सो बेटर कि नोचिंग से वहाँ करें इन एडिशन टू दैट. एंड दिस chemical will work only on new wood, not on the older wood. तो नर्सरी में भी आपको जब करना होता है about new growth when reaches to about 35 or 40 centimeters, then you start spraying at low volume and at least 6 sprays are required over there. प्रोमलिन की केस में आप थोड़ी घटा सकते हो, 4 sprays भी सफिशिएंट है 100 ppm की. अगर 400-500 ppm की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तो कम से कम 6 sprays आपको चाहिए, 500 मिनिमम चाहिए. Then only you will get it. Now come to the second part. Is it clear? Yes. Then second thing is, we have got the branch at the desired place, but it is the nature of apple. Branch will be upright. So benefit of notching is that, as I said, those branches will not be upright. Initially the approach angle will be wider enough. Later on it may be, after some extension, may be little bit upright. To make them with a wider approach angle, cloth pins could be used over there to widen that angle when the growth is still soft enough and flexible. So this will make this angle permanent. So this way it can be done over there. Those cloth pins can be used. Then next is, once this branches extended up to a spread of 40-45 centimeters. It is in the middle of the season. They will start again growing upright, and your wood also becomes lignified. That stage, these can be further bended according to the training system, either up to the horizontal level or below that even, So this can be achieved by different kind of method used. So as for the older branches, where spreader could not work much, definitely they need to be tied down either with the main trunk or the support system. Or otherwise, weight can be hanged on the branches. This would also help. Otherwise, spreaders. And sometimes, if cross pins are not working properly, this can be achieved by toothpicks also, when the branches are tender. That is also done sometimes. So this way we can broaden the branches.
Excuse me, sir.
Why?
Sir,
Yes,
can you
please.
please repeat the cloth spinning? I'm unable to understand that. Cloth spinning.
Cloth?
Yeah, cloth spinning.
What are cloth pins? You would like to say that or something else?
I just want to know the technique. Technique. Just repeat the technique.
I could not get that. What she said.
So she's not having a clear, this clear cut definition like what is cloths.
And what it is done for.
Is it possible to come to the back side?
Yeah, so just
This way?
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
No, no. Yes, yes.
By notching, we had made notch cuts over here. This bud was sprouted. Then bud sprouted and comes out to be 5 to 10 centimeters in the form of a shoot. Because of its nature, it may start growing upright or semi-upright. Just to keep it wider enough with approach angle of 90 degree. So we put cloths, we can say clips. कपड़े धोने के हम जो clips use करते हैं, those can be kept over there like this. Those will be putting little bit pressure, but definitely keeping them in this position. As the wood will start maturing, this angle becomes permanent. Then those are removed. These may be extending up to the 40 centimeter, 35 centimeter, 30 centimeter in the middle of the season. So these will not be helpful at seeds. These are removed. Then further extension, if it has to be restricted from the upright root, those are tied down then. Or any spreader can be placed over there, or weight can be held over there.
जो बनाते हैं ना branches.
Is it clear? Because this thing has to be done each and every training system.
Yes.
Either it is Lincoln canopy, white terrace, whatsoever, we will definitely like to widen the angle. This is the only thing which is in all the systems beyond our training systems. Name could be anything, but our aim is always to have that wide approach angle. Then only we can have better quality. Why we talk about this? It can be understood from here also.
Sir, regarding banding, we have the confusion here. Some are saying the angle should be like this, 60, 90. We want to clear this confusion. Banding at which angle we should be.
45 to 60.
But usually farmers do at different angles based on their own way.
If it is in conventional systems,
Yes.
where we are frequently heading back,
Yes.
then target that I will discuss also further. After heading back, we always have to kind of 45 to 60 degree angle, semi-upright, extension of the growth also, and at the same time formation of the spur on the bottom of that headed back portion. But in these kind of, as I said, tall spindle, slender spindle, which are the systems being adapted a lot around the globe in hydroseed planting, especially on M9,
Yes, sir.
we always avoid heading back. Thinning out is preferred or limb removal is preferred. In that case, it should not be less than 90 degree angle. It should not like this. I am discussing that thing here. We could have three type of positions.
Yes, sir.
This is 90 degree, horizontal to the ground.
Yes, sir.
This is straight upright. This is semi. It could be 45, it could be 50, it could be 60, like this, in between, semi upright. What will happen if the growth will be like this, upright?
Yes, sir.
Least of the spur formation will take place. Very vigorous growth will be here. Once this angle is modified up to the 45-60 degree, in the bottom you will be getting formation of certain spurs, but at the same time you will be getting very good growth also. But once we come to this level, as I was discussing earlier also, this extension growth, that is restricted, spur formation is increased. But the problem of this thing,
Upright should.
upright growth, and this upright growth in such situations are managed by means of sucker pruning. Just cutting them during the month of June, latest by July, not beyond July, to 3 bud level. What will happen? The topmost bud out of those 3, that will start regrowing in the form of vegetative matter. And 2 buds beyond that, they will form spurs.
Spurs.
Am I clear? Yeah. Here again, the same situation, and that could be because of the restriction of the level of the oxygen, which is going to restrict the extension growth over there. Now coming to pinching. As we were discussing a little bit earlier, pinching at the terminal portion of the nursery plants. There it may not be much helpful over there, but definitely whenever we are having laterals over there, what will happen? If we are not going to remove this terminal portion, again the apical dominance will be there. This extension growth will take place either 1 feet, 35 centimeters, 40, 50, whatsoever, but you will not be getting lateral branches on this. Then at the end of the season during dormancy, if you are cutting it back, then only you will be getting secondary laterals on this. So to have formation of spurs in the same year, this pinching is done. After this, what will happen? The topmost bud, which will again start regrowing, its growth will be very, very less. At the top of that, at the end of the season, that will also be forming a floral bud, and rest of the sprouted also. They will be very short, though branches, but fruit will be born on terminal portion of those or small branches. That is why this pinching. If we would like to have spur formation in the very first year or floral bud development. Then sticking. In all the cases, we would always try to have single leader. Either it is on the lateral branches or it is on the main leader. If we are retaining more than that, this kind of situation, competitive shoots will be there. It becomes multi-leader tree that way on the top. So always how it can be achieved? Once we are heading back. After that, as I said earlier also, topmost bud that will grow in the same direction of that branch. And after that, two buds, they will be its completers. So either they should be rubbed just after pruning or just after sprouting, or as early as possible in the season. That way it will be grown in a better manner. Otherwise, due to competition, they all will be growing simultaneously with the same vigor, and at those season you have to remove one or two of them, and that is the wastage of our reserves over there. Then leader treatment. As I said, in most of these training systems, height of the tree is kept 10, 12, 15 meters, not 10, 12, 15 meters, 10, 12, 15 feet, not more than that. So trellises are over there. This is the top post. Consider it is at 10 feet or 12 feet over there. Once we are reaching over there or near to reach over there, either we are diverting the growth every year to a weak lateral, not strong. Lateral, that to again weak, which will be going upright very slowly, or we can bend over there. After bending it once, what will happen? If you are not aligned, the lateral branch is on this. A branch may direct upright from this particular position. That if removed, you will not be getting further extension growth, and it will be restricted over here. So this way we can. Now come to the second thing. I may add that the right track. टाइम बहुत ज़्यादा तो नहीं ले रहा हूँ, ऐसा नहीं 45 मिनट बोला 45 हो गए हो।
So we started late, sir.
चल वैसे क्या हो? हाँ, आप रोक दीजिएगा जहाँ हो, उसका
Sir,
डिस्कशन।
it's in about time, sir, like 6 minutes.
Okay, now coming to the pruning. Pruning is just depend upon the kind of cuts we make over there. Otherwise, every branch of the single tree can be pruned in different manners. Depending upon the situation, sometimes we would have to encourage the growth of that branch, sometimes we have to go for decrease that growth. And that is all dependent upon the kind of cuts. Two major cuts which we perform over there while pruning. One is thinning out, other is heading back. That known to all of us. In case of thinning out, whenever there is prodding of the branches, to remove the branches completely from its origin, that is thinning out. And heading back is whenever we remove a part of the branch. That may be its modification can be again, your bench cut would be there, bench cut, but we can say renewal cut would be. But in case of renewal cut, it is the intensity of removal and the retained wood. So, and depending upon the objective of that. So heading back, part of that is removed. How much part has to be removed? It's supposed to be according to that. So what is our aim? Accordingly we remove either 1/4, 1/3, half or 3/4 whatsoever. But sometimes if the growth is very, very less, then we proceed to the removal cut. Means retaining a small stuff, only 2-3 buds upon that, so that all of them will sprout and they will be giving the very vigorous growth. After that, in your system, this Dutch cut, it is again a kind of renewal cut, but with the special objective or special kind of cut that I will show further. And bench cut, as I discussed earlier also, cutting a leader to a later, that is bench cut. Now, the growth which we expect from the pruning cuts, especially in case of heading back, we must consider once we are heading back where our topmost bud is. And to have that semi-vertical growth, widened growth, it should be outward always. If it will be inward, that will come back to the main trunk or upright one, and it will not be falling. So this way, we will be receiving the response from the cuts, and our target should be always to have bud towards outside. Here we can see the reaction whenever we head back, which I was discussing in previous slide also, how much stub we are retaining. If the stub is short, means more of the wood has been removed, little is the retained. What will happen? Almost each and every bud that will sprout, and the growth will be very vigorous, and the shoots, they will be thick enough, and there will be least formation of the spurs. But if it has been pruned to with a more removal of your wood, there will be less formation of the buds. But if heading back is slight, little portion is removed, more portion is retained, that way what will happen? We lateral will be sprouting, but from the tubular portion of that left out, and most of the part that will be remaining either unsprouted, most of the buds. That way barren wood will be brought over here. However, in between some of the spurs will be produced over here. So this way we can consider what is the status of the branch or that tree. Up to what extent we should go for heading back. As I said earlier, in majority of the cases, if we are not heading back, definitely we might not be getting much laterals over there, but spur formation will be very, very high. Now coming to the incorrect cuts. Whenever we cut over there, first we talk renewal cut or your Dutch cut. That is a kind of bend cut or slanting cut. If we are cutting this way, means not leaving a stub with any vegetative growth. That is right. If you would like to thin out, removing it completely at the approach angle without disturbing or damaging the bark or ridge bark of that approach angle, then it's right. But if such a stub is left over there, where there are vegetative buds, they will regrow very fast. Then how much portion of the wood should be retained after the topmost bud? That is again important. If it is much more over there, 1 inch, 2 inch or so many centimeters, that may not be good. If it is 0, again it may be dangerous because it may be damaging that developing new shoot. So there should be little bit stub at the most 5 millimeters or half centimeter. This is considered good enough. Here from, as I was talking about this corner portion or branch portion. So this way, while removing or thinning out, we should consider it should not damage that bark in the branch corner. So cut should be just pure that approach angle or your corner portion. That should not be damaged. Otherwise, it may lead to the formation of problems. Now coming to Dutch cut, which is very common in most of these because the branches or limbs are not permanent over there. Like it is in case of spurs, similarly in case of our branches also. If branch has been got this year, it is not being headed back, permanent spurs will be there, and that will give the good crop up to 5 years at the most. Normally 3 to 5 years age in case of apple of the spurs for giving good crop. So that way those branches need to be removed after that for formation of new shoot and new spurs. And second criteria for removal of this is, once this lateral branch is attaining the diameter of half of the trunk diameter, then that need to be removed. For removal, it was at its right place, its angle was good enough. But if we need the branch from the same position again, so it is the Dutch cut through which we can make that. In case of Dutch cut also, what kind of cut should be? It should be upward facing rather than the downward facing. Because in such a way, if the branch is arising from this exit, that will be upright, which is not desirable. If the cut will be like this, the shoot will be arising from here, as it is clear from here also. This is rightly from the exit, but this is from the vestibule button up over here. So this wide approach angle and new shoots are required over there. This way this can be achieved. Now coming to the techniques of the pruning. Normally in high-density planting, what kind of pruning we perform? Then one is called stubbing back pruning, where once the branches becomes long enough, or they are more or less the having dia more than 50% or equal to 50% of the just before removal. Then 1/3 of the branch that should be removed. And here this might be wrong. It has been kept because of restriction of the extension. That is why upright. Otherwise it should not be upright. So where the cut is being made over there, if it is on the spot, there will be no further extension. If it is on the, what should I say, it is called ring, which indicates the extension of the new growth from there. Then also no further growth will be there. If it is on a bench-led growth or it is a kind of bench cut, then further extension may be in the direction the branch we are using. And the objective is here just to use the bearing area of the tree and restrict its extension. Then limb removal. Here also the large shoots, they are eliminated and different portions where from they have been arising. Like this, you can remove them and kind of Dutch cut. First remove if it was at right place. If it was not right place, then no Dutch cut, simple thinning out cuts after that so that no further shoot may be arising. Then simplification of the shoots or branches. If branch is at its right place, it has number of spurs over there. So just to reduce the number of spurs over there or their renewal, we can cut some of the spurs to half or 2/3 of that to formation of new growth from that, and rest nothing is done over there. No heading back, nothing like that. Only the spurs are treated over there just to reduce the number of spurs, because if the number of spurs are reduced, definitely quality and size of the produce will be improved. Likewise, spur pruning, where only the spurs that is 1/3 in number, those are removed depending upon. That can be by means of the cut from the terminal portion of the or retaining portion. Some of the spurs, those are removed over there. And then renewal of the spurs. This might not be the position in case of our high density plantation, but in old orchards, such kind of situation could be over there. So as I said earlier also, normally 3 to 5 years, healthy spurs, they will be giving good crops. So such kind of new healthy growth that can be retained. Otherwise, such kind of damaged or old spurs, those need to be where it is zigzag lining. Such kind of spurs, they should be removed, which are having plump buds. Those should be retained in the spur. So this way, renewal of the spurs is also done like that. Now coming to pruned versus unpruned, whether we should go for heading back or not. So response will be accordingly, and it will depend upon the situation also. If I say about my location, where plantations are on slopy lands, there are aspects, whether it is facing south, whether it is facing north, and accordingly climatic conditions are formed over here. Once the situation is in northern conditions, northeastern parts, the moisture may be sufficient over there and vigor of the trees could be good enough. And beside that, it could be the variety, if it is standard delicious variety or pollinizing variety, their vigor is good enough. That way what happens over there in such situations, the branch, if we cut back everywhere, spurs will not be formed. That will grow every year. He will be getting very good response with respect to growth, but least formation of the spurs. That way, if we retain these laterals on the main branch without heading back, these will fill with the spurs. So for 1 or 2 years, you can maintain like that, and in 3rd year, we can head them back also for the extension of the growth. But the situation is worse whenever it is south-westerly aspect, where conditions are warmer, growth of the plant is less. And it is added over there by means of the planting of spur varieties over there, where there is abundance of spurs, but extension growth is less. So that way what happens over there, one of the example I can cite with respect to super cheap you might have heard. It is one of the very good variety of delicious. I promote that variety, but none of the farmers in our locations prefer that one because of the response to poor growth. Among the all spur varieties, that is the one which form maximum spurs, abundance of spurs. Because of that, what happens over there, pruning is faulty. Situation is like this is spur, this is spur, this is spur, this is spur, in the terminal portion. There is no space where to head back. Heading back has to be done in such situation always to a vegetative bud. It should not be a floral bud. If cut has to be made, a cut will be made over there on the floral bud. You might not be getting the response of its extension. And if cut has to be made, or cut was made even on the vegetative bud, and spur formation was below that over there, that will also lead to restriction of the growth and spur formation on the terminal portion of that extension also. So at least whenever in such a situation we are heading that is mandatory every year, and after heading that, especially in case of spur varieties, at least 6 inches portion from the top headed back portion, spur removal is mandatory. Then only we can have the response with respect to extension of the growth. Now coming to dormant and summer pruning, will not talk much about because there could be a separate topic on this. But just one thing I would like to say. Earlier, there was no trend of summer pruning in our locality. We are having bit warmer conditions, and it is the warmth of summer pruning which may lead to the development of character over here. But that has become more or less mandatory in case of high density plantation, especially on floral groups. So broadly I can say, whenever it is summer pruning, the aim is either just to open up the trees in spite of the very good training system because of the abundance of the leaves on that. Some of the fruits may be in shady positions. So by removing such kind of shoots from the canopy during summer, that will expose the fruits, their quality will be improved. And second, which are the bigger shoots, their growth can be restricted. To check and control the growth, that is the objective over there. And in winter, we are maintaining the structures, but once we are heading back in winters or dormant pruning, our aim is always to have vigorous growth. That will again depend upon the intensity of the pruning, how much we are removing, how much we are retaining. So that way, what we are doing, why we are doing, that should be clear to us, otherwise there is nothing. So here from, I would like to conclude over there. We all know, whenever we are involved in orcharding practices, our aim is always to have higher production and productivity. And the quality of the produce should be very, very good. Again I said, number of factors are there, all of them should be at its right place, but training and pruning is one of the most important in all those. So proper spacing maintenance is another aspect which we have not discussed over here. The training system, each and every training system is spacing over there. And the thumb rule with respect to that is the spacing between trees is considered and height is kept according to spur renewal, limb positioning, etc. All those will be helpful in the training and pruning means, which may lead to the development of good and quality crop. So thank you very much. The topic is open for discussion. Any discussion in your mind, you are free.
How it makes difference?
Then actually stub cut is just a kind of renewal cut. Other things, but depending upon the object. Once we are cutting somewhere, stub is coming to a portion, therefrom we expect the new growth from there. In case of Dutch cut, we don't want to have shoot from the buds on the stub. We expect the branch to be arise from the exit of that stub. मैंने इसमें दिखाया आपको करिएगा. Once we are cutting at that portion, जैसे इसको देख लो, ठीक है? यहाँ कोई आपके पास वेजिटेटिव बड नहीं, Latent buds यहाँ है. If these buds will sprout over there, what they will be forming? Spurs only. You will not be getting anything out of that. So that way what we do, we keep it bit longer like this. यहाँ तो opposite direction में है, but it would have this way, straight cut over there, 1 inch, 2 inch like that. So our aim from that stump cut is to have growth from the vegetative bud over there, new shoot. But its angle may be again depending upon the direction of the stump or the buds left on the terminal portion of that stump. But here in case of Dutch cut, what we expect to have branch from this exit. This is the difference. You see, this is stump cut. There was vegetative bud on this stump. Therefore you got the growth. And here it is from the axil, not from that. That's axil of this stump. That is it. That is why it is slanting one, and we expect always. That is why it is up facing from the lower. This is the difference.
So every
Or pruned for 4-5 years. After that, those are removed and new branches from the same position are taken.
So that
However, in case
stop
of
there, no?
yeah,
Once we go for the removal.
yeah, the new branch has to be taken from there. But in case of one conventional, where it is modified center or open center, I have seen in your locations, in some orchards conventionally, there it is entirely different. It will then depend upon, as I discussed, our aspects, whether it is northeastern, southwestern, that way. What kind of response he is giving. For that, I just discussed the response of the growth from our cut ends. What kind of resources we will be getting. So how much we have to go for retaining, how much we have to go for removing. And if we are not removing, spur formation will not taking place, leave some of the laterals without heading back. Once it will be left as such, spur formation may be abundance over there. But extension growth may be least, and later especially there will be no lateral over that. So that way those branches on the same tree, different branches may need to be trained or
किसी को कोई भी क्वेरी हो तो बोलो. जहाँ समझ नहीं आया और समझना है.
मैं जस्ट अपने एक्सपीरियंस शेयर कर रहा हूँ जो मैंने सीखा है कुछ थोड़ा बहुत किया है. But it may not be that I know each and everything what I was speaking from this book.
I came especially from your lecture.
Chaliye, that's very, very good. Thank you very much you all
Thank you so much.
for your patience, your interaction. Yes.
Kashmir में Java net and UFO system in Apple, is it recommended in Apple?
Yes.
Some called as SOS system. UFO system which is mostly using cherry.
As I said earlier, it will be difficult enough to say straight away, this is good, this is not good.
Yes.
Until or unless we compare some systems. And it is never possible for us. In different timings, different era, different scientists, they have got, keeping in view their local problems in their localities. They have got different systems. Once we talk about our locations for any of our crops, we should select some of them to compare with. That is the work of we people, the scientists and the institutions. And out of those compared systems, then any one system can be recommended for the farmers. Because they are not researchers, they should be given the final recommendations. So if you ask me whether this is good or not, until or unless I work on that or I compare the
Yes.
studies of some person over there in our locality, it will be difficult for me.
Sir, as you have already worked on different systems, as you said earlier, and you said tall Britain was the best. So what were the reasons? In what sense regarding that?
Why it was that?
Yes.
As I said, there are two things, more or less, sender spindle and tall spindle.
Yes.
Both of them responded in a pattern. But once we think as a farmer, for the scientist it may be a bit easy enough to maintain a system. But for the farmers, which one is easy, that is also one of the aspects which was considered over there, that making a zigzag leader every year, bending this side, then next year that side, then taking branches, later branches on that. That was very difficult. Otherwise, they were at par as far as final yield, quality and productivity from the given area and the quality of the produce. So we compared this system on the basis of the field we obtained from there, the productivity of the orchard and the final quality. That was size-wise and the biochemical characteristics also. Sugar content, your acidity,
Yes.
other contents also, ascorbic, etc. And finally the color. So color-wise, it was not much good in comparison to this. Otherwise, comparing with the conventional system, it was very, very good even in vertical axis also. Because of wider branches over there and at regular intervals, frequent branching over there. There were little bit shading over there. That might be sometimes because it was not easy enough to manage that kind of shading effect by means of summer pruning paper, which was easy enough in case of tall spindle because of that bending further beyond horizontal. And growth restriction was there. We had just planted all these systems at a spacing of 1 meter in a row, and there was a spacing of 2.5 meters between rows. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much.
You all
Thank you so much.
for your patience and thank you very much.